Sunday afternoon, sun is out. Really lovely day. Did a bit of gardening, bit of mowing of the lawn. Lovely to be outside. Very quiet. No planes going overhead. A handful of cars. People waving over fences. People shouting "unclean" across the road. It's one another. You know, we all get on in our road largely. The road support group on WhatsApp is a bit annoying, but so I sort of kept that at an arm's length. Conversations yesterday were had with musicians who I'm doing work for. They have remarkable hope. Actually, they talked about how they were waiting to see when the sort of lockdown thing, sort of isolation phase, came to an end, and when they were waiting for ground planes to start flying again, and when they saw planes flying again, then they knew that there was a higher chance of their gigs being honoured. Both musicians talked about how they had gigs cancelled until the end of May, and that's clearly very distressing for them. You can tell just by the tone of voice that they have. And it was quite interesting to hear them talk about that kind of milestone, that sort of, we're waiting to see when the flights take off again. And that led on to, in both conversations, led on to talk of various festivals which haven't announced what they're doing yet. And I find that quite interesting. I'm not going to name what those festivals are, because I don't think that's very fair on what are clearly a small group of people working very hard to decide what is going to happen. And there's all manner of things, you know, many years of planning which is now up in the air, which needs to be taken into account. They don't need somebody like me calling them out and going, why haven't we heard? But it is interesting that they haven't announced yet. And that, for me, means that there is a sense of hope. Hope not only because of this sort of state of isolation coming to an end, or at least a temporary end, because I don't believe that it will be permanent. I imagine there'll be a second wave and we'll have to do this again. But because more and more as the days goes by, I've come to realise how much those in this sector, in this festival, aside from the financial implications for artists, and they are very serious, the lack of experience being available, that live experience, is saddening on a very passionate core audience, and it must be. And so the idea that maybe those festivals will still go ahead is like, oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? That would be really fantastic if that happened, in whatever form, even if it means that they need to change, then that's fine. So there is this sense from the two conversations I had yesterday that we set up milestones in our heads, sort of moments to test where we are, and if we reach that moment, can we move further? Can we manage this? If we can pass that particular self-imposed test, we can probably manage the rest of it. I found that very interesting. I also recognise over the past couple of days I need to prioritise. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do. I sit down at the beginning of every day. I'm very much more productive at the beginning of the day than I am at the end, and I do have a habit of letting my work bleed into the evening, and that really has to stop. But I need to prioritise what's important and what I can deliver quickly, and I need to focus quickly. I need to deliver quickly and accurately. That's not to say that I don't. It's just that I think the need now to prioritise is ever more important, because for somebody like me, and presumably for others, there is in order to keep busy, one throws a lot of energy into do this, and there's only so much time in the day when you're self-employed, and you just need to prioritise. I think it's really important. It's really come home to me over the past couple of days. and the need to break and relax. I did have relax. I did have a moment yesterday afternoon when I realised I am very, very tired, when it felt as though this was the end of the world. And I ended up sleeping for an hour and a half on the sofa. I felt a lot better when I woke up. It's a period of adjustment. That's what it is. It's a period of adjustment. And we set ourselves milestones in order to test ourselves. And if we can get to those milestones, then we know that we'll probably be all right for the next week or for the next month. My milestone was getting a Tesco delivery. I was convinced that we either wouldn't get the Tesco delivery or that what we'd ordered would not be there, and we got it after a very friendly text from the driver to say, I'm running a bit late today, I'm really sorry. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be in. Everything was there, and I think we will end this appreciating the people who we have taken for granted, people who drive vans and deliver our food for us, and people who make sure that food is available, and we will absolutely appreciate care workers and music therapists and musicians and people who work unpaid and health workers. I do believe there'll be a reset, and that's long overdue, isn't it? Really is long overdue.